Mitch, we move on to the slept on game of the week, and we're going back in the well here for the slept on game of the week. First, I want to say to you that the slept on game of the week is brought to you by Best Sleep Today. If you're tired of being tired, Dr. Mason can help. Talk to the team at Best Sleep Today about how you can return to quiet, restorative sleep without a loud, bulky CPAP or expensive surgery. Visit bestsleeptoday.com to learn more. Real patients, real results. Best Sleep Today. Like I said, we're going back to the well here, going back up I-35 to Denton, Texas for the slept on game of the week. It's Navy this time, taking on the Mean Green. The Mean Green, 6.5-point favorites. Navy undefeated but unranked in the AP poll, ranked in the All Podcasters poll. I think checking in at 22 this week, if my memory is correct. And UNT's only losses to South Florida. Both of them are squarely in the thick of the title chase in the American. Both of them have offenses that have been great at what they do. North Texas, of course, Drew Mestemaker had the 608 yards through the air last week at Charlotte. Navy doing what they do with their modified option, I will say, attack that airs it out just a little bit more. And the defense has been somewhat optional for both of these teams at times. So when I look at this, I think that this is going to be a fun back and forth matchup. And I'm going to take North Texas to cover this spread at home. They didn't get it done against South Florida. South Florida is really physical on defense, and that's really what set North Texas up for failure in that one. They had the disastrous, I think it was start of the third quarter / into the middle eight, essentially, was just a disaster for North Texas in this game that you saw firsthand from the press box. I think there's going to be a ton of points scored in this one. Both of the offenses are really good at exploiting at what the other team struggles at, right? Navy susceptible to the pass, and North Texas is great at that. North Texas has been very susceptible against the run, like we saw against another service academy earlier this year on the road at West Point. But I think what I'm leaning here is this being Navy's first real test, and I'm wondering if they're ready for that. We've talked about on the show how, yes, they're undefeated. It's been an awesome start yet again, but the real gauntlet is coming. And they've kind of squeaked by in some of these games. They beat Rice by 8, Air Force by 3, Temple by 1 in an absolute miracle the last time they left home. So I think, like I said, this is going to be a fun shootout. A ton of points are going to be scored. We're going to love watching this game. I think UNT has a little too much firepower, and they're going to pull away late at home.
I do too. My gut reaction is North Texas minus the points, but because I was there to watch South Florida, and maybe this is just the Ruxin in me, I'm really concerned about the back door here. I think that North Texas, unfortunately, has the supreme ability to shoot themselves in the foot. They got off to a dreadful start against Charlotte on the road on a Friday night, admittedly in a weird spot. But Trey, do you know how many freshmen Charlotte started in their basic nickel package against UNT last year?
I did not know.
4 true freshmen started along the defensive line. And Trey, they had Drew Mestemaker in purgatory all the first half. And if he did not get the ball out immediately, that offensive line was letting anybody through the turnstiles. Navy does not necessarily pride themselves on getting the quarterback down on the ground. They've only got 17 sacks, but they are a physical front. And I do worry a little bit if Navy can bow up enough defensively, and I know they give up a lot in the past, but if they can get Mestemaker out of his rhythm, maybe force an early turnover, they hit the home run ball on the ground quite a bit themselves. And North Texas has really had a hard time when it comes to big plays, keeping it in front of them. They've had some tackling issues as well. Navy's going to throw some weird looks at them, right? They're going to suck guys up towards the line of scrimmage. And then I wonder if Navy can beat UNT straight up in the box enough to where they're getting free and running all over North Texas. Not to mention, this also helps to shorten the game. And I really am concerned that if North Texas has a special teams turnover, if Mestemaker throws an interception, suddenly you start to count minutes and you count drives. I like Navy's offense enough, and the fact that it scares me on a Saturday morning is enough for me to salute the troops, take the points. I think North Texas wins, but I'm really nervous about that screen door slamming in the back door, so I'll take the points.
It's a massive spot for North Texas, man. Everything is still out in front of them despite that loss to South Florida. If they can get by Navy, the rest of the schedule is very gettable. They've got UAB
Sure
on
is.
the road, who's already fired their coach. They've got Rice, who, interesting. We'll talk about Rice a little bit more later in this episode. They're in a very interesting spot this week on a Friday night. And then Temple, a very upstart team, I think a team that you're expecting to beat at home in the last week of the season. So everything's right there for the Mean Green. Like we said with Navy, after this one, it really starts a gauntlet for them. So they have to have this one if they want to stay legitimately in the chase for the American title. After this one, they have Notre Dame on the road, South Florida at home, Memphis on the road, and then, of course, the Army-Navy game. So a must-win for both of these teams, and we get treated to it on national TV, on ESPN2, to start your college football Saturday. Make sure you're tuned in, and if you are worried about going to sleep and getting up in time for that, check out the folks at Best Sleep Today. BestSleepToday.com, proud sponsors of the Slept On Game of the Week.